Welcome to lesson 17, comparing data. So this is for Wednesday, May 18th. So today you're going to do a observation, growing a radial pattern. We're going to do an activity called Crazy Taxi, compare Uber and Lyft services, and practice writing a formula. So this is kind of a crazy one, but take a minute and look at this pattern. How do you see it growing? If you want, there are pattern blocks in the back of the room if you want to try and build it. But pause the video and then try and figure out, sketch on paper, or actually build the pattern blocks. What do you think the next figure would look like? Come back when you think you're ready. All right, so we're going to do an activity called Crazy Taxi. So you either need this activity sheet, the paper version, or you can find it as a PDF in Schoology. So you're going to need that as we do the activity. And we're going to watch a video. So quick watch the video. It's about a crazy taxi ride. You're pretty sure you don't want to go on that taxi ride, but think about, what do you notice? Well, like, what's going on with that taxi ride? Like, what did you see as it was moving along? There was some information that was going past. There was some time, and there was some distance, right? See up in the corner? There's the time on the left, the distance on the right. All right, we won't watch it again. All right, so what I need you to do is to think about, there are two variables that you're comparing. There's an independent variable that's pretty much the same, and then the dependent variable really changes in relation to the independent variable. So think about it for a minute. What do you think the independent variable is, and what do you think the dependent variable is? And write it down on your paper. Pause the video while you do that, and then come back and we'll talk about what those independent and dependent variables were. All right, so the independent variable is the distance traveled. And so, because that's just, that just happens. You're in a taxi, and hopefully it's not this taxi, but you're in a taxi and you move along. The thing that's dependent, which changes depending on how far you drive, is the taxi fare. So when we try and figure this out, well, let's watch this and find out. All right, so what did you notice? Every time he went a kilometer, his fare went up by how much? All right, so the next thing that we need to wonder is, oops, I don't want to watch that again. Sorry about that. The next thing, so the fare started at, where did it start at? How much did it increase by, and when? Right, so it started at $5, right? And then every time it hit the kilometer mark, the fare went up by 50 cents. So, and then how far did he go? Do you remember how far he went? So he went. I can't go back on this. Sorry. So so describe what's happening. So in his taxi ride, he gets in and he has to pay a flat rate. So he has to pay that flat rate of how much money? And then every kilometer he has to go, his rate increases by 50 cents. So figure out how to make a table that shows that that's happening. Pause the video and then come back. All right, here we are. So it started with $5, and for every kilometer, the fare increased 50 cents. So you should have a table that starts to look like this. And if you fill it in, it looks like this, right? So 0 kilometers, he's got to pay $5. And then once he hits the kilometer, he has to pay $5.50, 2, 3. So even if he goes like 3.999999 kilometers, it doesn't turn over to 7 until he gets to that 4 kilometer mark. So it's $6.50 whether he travels 3 kilometers or 3.99999 kilometers. So now we want to know how far, if he's going to travel 30 kilometers. I believe that's what the number was at the end of the video. How much will it cost? So think about an equation that you could write. All right. And if he wants to travel 30 kilometers in this crazy taxi. I don't know why anyone would want to be in that taxi for that long, but if he really needed to get somewhere and was desperate, I guess you could go in the crazy taxi ride. Although some of you might like that taxi ride, I would not. So figure out how much it will cost to travel 30 kilometers, all right? And then assume that Mr. Pierce has a $50 bill in his wallet and nothing more. How far could he travel? So how far could you get on $50? Pause the video and figure out how you could do that. And even, I know there's lots of ways to figure that out, but if you can figure it out using an algebraic equation, all the better. Pause the video. Come back when you're done thinking. All right, so 30 kilometers. It would be 30 kilometers times 50 cents is $15. And then you've got to add that $5. Remember that $5, that first flat rate, $20 to go 30 kilometers. Assuming that Mr. Pierce has a $50 bill in his wallet, how far can he travel? Well, 50 divided by minus 5, right? Because you got to pay that 5 flat rate. So he can go 45. He's got $45. So with 50 cents a kilometer, he can go 90 kilometers. Brave man, Mr. Pierce. All right, now, how do you choose which car service to buy? So this is the same kind of things. I don't know, have you ever been in an Uber or a Lyft? I don't use them very often. I use them to go to the airport, though. So it's comparing the two rates. So in Uber, you have to pay a $7 base fare and 65 cents a mile. And in Lyft, you have to pay a $10 base fare and 59 cents a mile. And, this isn't actually on the money, but this could be an example. And so let's say you have to go 45 miles. Which is the better deal? $7 base fare plus 65 cents a mile, or $10 base fare, 59 cents a mile. Do some figuring, and then while the video is paused, and then come back and compare your thinking to mine. All right? Ready to come back? All right. So Uber, in this case, is the best deal. You would multiply 45 miles times 65 cents per mile, which is $29.25. And then you add in the $7, so it's $36.25. With Lyft, you're going 45 miles and paying 59 cents a mile. And then you get $26.55. And then you have to add back in that base fare, so it's $36.55. It's not a huge difference. I know that if I go on Lyft, I get miles on my airline miles. So that might be the difference. Worth it to pay the extra 30 cents. I don't know. All right. So see if you can figure this part out. So at what point are they the same cost? So at what point does it cost the same to travel by Uber and Lyft? So at first, Uber's cheaper, but then does it get more expensive as you go? Because, if you look at the Lyft price, the mileage price is lower. So you'd think that the further you went, the more you'd save. And I wonder if that's true. But what's the point where they're equal? How could you figure that out? Take a few minutes, try and figure that out at your table or with your partner, and then unpause the video and come back and see. All right, so at 50 miles, they are the same rate. They both cost $39.50. You could use a table to figure that out if you wanted. All right, so we've got another pattern thing to figure out. what would the next pattern be? And can you figure out what the equation would be? Think about it, talk about it with people. What do you think that equation would be? This is what the next one would look like. And the equation would be 2n plus 2, right? So this n is the stage. So every time that there's a new next stage, it's 2 times whatever that stage number is. So for like stage 3, it will be 2 times 3 plus 2. The 2 are the little 2 lone squares on the end. And that is it for today. There is a Desmos activity for you to do. It's listed in Schoology. And I'll have a video for you tomorrow too. Have a good day.